Muy buenas tardes. En nombre de University of Dayton Publishing y el grupo SM, les doy la bienvenida. Soy Andrew Saint-Fleur y me desempeño como asesor pedagógico de idiomas. En la tarde de hoy estaremos impartiendo el taller Methodologies for Online Learning. Les invitamos a que se registren en este taller a través del enlace que aparece en la descripción y en el chat de este evento, y así poder recibir su certificado de participación. También estaremos respondiendo a sus preguntas o dudas. Estas inquietudes nos las pueden hacer llegar a través del mismo chat. Fruto de nuestra experiencia a lo largo de todas estas vivencias durante la pandemia, hemos tenido que utilizar nuevas herramientas en el proceso de enseñanza-aprendizaje. Y por supuesto, las clases de idiomas no se quedaron fuera de esta realidad. Para SM Dominicana, resultó un gran desafío acompañar a docentes, estudiantes y padres en la formación y uso de estas nuevas herramientas a través de capacitaciones virtuales. Nuestra misión como UDP es expandir los horizontes y las oportunidades de nuestros estudiantes, integrando lo mejor en la enseñanza del inglés y los valores universales como la responsabilidad social y la sensibilidad para afrontar los desafíos globales. Creemos que la educación es el fundamento de nuestra sociedad y estamos convencidos que es esencial para profesores y escuelas innovar y desarrollarse para responder a las exigencias del presente y el futuro del mundo de la educación. UDP ofrece interesantes e innovadores recursos en el proceso de enseñanza-aprendizaje del inglés como lengua extranjera. Integra materiales impresos, recursos digitales y formación de profesores en estrategias actuales para así crear un catálogo único de productos y servicios diseñados para responder a las necesidades de profesores y estudiantes. Estimados docentes, les tengo una excelente noticia. Este año, todos los contenidos, todos los recursos, todos los proyectos educativos se encuentran en un solo lugar. SM Aprendizaje. Un espacio, todos tus contenidos. A estos puedes acceder a través de múltiples dispositivos aptos para la educación, tanto online como offline. Comprometido con el desarrollo profesional de nuestros docentes, pasemos al taller que tenemos preparado para ustedes en el día de hoy, a cargo de Víctor Rivera. Víctor es licenciado en Lenguas Modernas, mención inglés, de la Universidad Autónoma de Santo Domingo. Ha sido maestro por más de 10 años en diversas instituciones educativas. Actualmente cursa la maestría en Lingüística aplicada a la enseñanza del idioma inglés y por más de 3 años funge como asesor pedagógico para UDP y el grupo SM Dominicana. Sin más preámbulo, les dejo con el taller Methodologies for Online Learning.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Hello, everyone. This is Victor Rivera speaking, and on behalf of SM, I want to welcome you all to our workshop 2021. In today's workshop, I'm going to tackle a very important point of our teaching process, which is an aspect that all our books have pretty much in common. I'm talking about the methodology, which is a path that your teacher must use in a very effective way to pass information and knowledge onto your students. Knowing the methodologies that come with your textbooks will give you the opportunity to achieve better outcomes. And at the same time, will help your student to take more protagonism in their learning process. In this new era, your role as a teacher isn't being the center of the class anymore, but being a facilitator. So that way your students can take more responsibility about their learning.
Firstly, I would like to tell you that it's not a secret that since these online classes started, anything hasn't been the same anymore. I mean, we as teachers have had to cope with new challenges, challenges that have made us more competent, but at the same time have made us embrace new strategies and new methodologies in order for us to help our students to achieve their goal. That is why today our webinar is called Methodologies for Online Learning. And I would like to start defining in a very brief way the word methodology. And it is a system of procedures that we teachers use to teach. Okay? In a very simple way. Methodology is a system of procedures that teachers use to teach. The first methodology that I'm going to touch about is the one developed by Jean Piaget. Constructivism. Okay? The main objective of this methodology is to help our students to be able to construct their own knowledge. Okay? That's the main objective of constructivism. So, in constructivism, a student firstly assimilate information, okay, with the old information that they have, and then they are able to create new concepts. Okay, they first assimilate and then they accommodate that information so they can be able to revise the information acquired. The characteristics of constructivism are that in constructivism, learners construct their understanding that makes sense to them. The new learning depends on correct understanding. Active learning is preferable to passive learning. Okay, what we really want in a constructive class is that our students are really involved, okay, with the class, involved with the subject. Meaningful learning occurs with real-world tasks. That's obviously that's one of the most important characteristics. Okay, because what we really want is that students learn also through experiencing with the real world, and student-centered control of content and pace. Although professors provide guidance, okay. In constructivism, classes are student-centered. Teachers are no more the main character of the class. Okay, now the protagonists are the students. Okay. Among the activities that we can carry out as teachers in a constructive classroom, we have research projects. We can also assign experiments. Or the one that I like the most, films and class discussion. You can send videos to your student. You can share a film with your student or assign a film. And at the end of it, you can then prepare like a discussion class about the video or about this film. We also have solving problems activity, and another activity would be like topic exploration. Another activity beside helping your student to building or constructing their knowledge, you can also ask student to analyze an issue by constructing a report. Okay, in this report you can provide multiple sources which a student can select in order to build a complete report. Or you can also ask your student to construct their own definition, provide materials they can use to build it, such as words or images that illustrate feelings, reaction, and concepts. So beside constructivism helping your student to being able of constructing their knowledge or developing their critical thinking skills, it also helps your student to uh, be more sociable. Okay, the constructivism develop communication, your students' social skills, and it also helps them to transfer skills, those skills they have acquired to the real world. Okay, so the benefits is that constructivism encourages students to reflect on their progress and identify the skills they need to develop in order to improve. Okay, and they adapt the learning to the real world, gaining problem solving skills and ability to do critical analysis of a given set of data. Okay. Now, I would like to talk to you about one of the modern methodologies that has gained more popularity in the recent years. I'm talking about flipped classroom, which was created by Jonathan Bergman and Adam Sams. This methodology is a pedagogical approach in which direct instructions move from the group learning space to the individual learning space environment, where the educator guides students as they apply concepts and engage creatively in the subject matter. The idea of shifting instructions to student before the class and using class for assignment allows students to learn the basic concepts on their own and explore the concepts in depth during the class. Some of the characteristics of flipped classroom are that students are transformed from passive listeners, then become active learners. Okay? Discussions are led by students where outside content is brought in and expanded. Content is given context and as it relates to real world scenarios. Students challenge one another during class and content, and the use of technology in this methodology is flexible and appropriate for 21st century learning. Some of the activities that we can apply or we can assign our students in flipped classroom are watch video, listening to recorded lecture, which can be recorded by you teachers or by somebody else. You can also use reading materials or complete an assignment, as well as tests for comprehension. Okay. What I do in my flipped classroom is that I ask my students to read the textbooks, PowerPoint slides. I also ask them to watch video clips, pose to the discussion pattern, and take practice tests before the class. Okay, those practice tests. Let's call them diagnostic tests. Okay. I also have then engage in individual and group tasks to apply what they have learned in real world or real life during the class. This methodology, just like the others, has benefits, and these are some of their benefits. Firstly, it helps students to take ownership for learning. It also promotes student-centered learning. Okay, so students are the center of the class. Also, lessons and contents are more accessible for them, and it gives more time to explore the content. It can be also more efficient, and students get less frustration with their homework. Okay. Uh, Remember that when flipping There is a continued focus on assessment, which can be either summative or formative. The summative assessment will provide feedback on whether or not students have successfully learned what they were supposed to learn. Formative assessment, on the other hand, allows you, teachers, to take the temperature of the class and see how your students are doing. And the last methodology that I want to touch about is CLEAL, which stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. This methodology was created by David March and is known for having a dual objective that includes subject matter learning and learning the language, which is used as a medium of instruction in relation to the content. CLEAR refers to a situation where subjects are taught through the target language. CLEAR main objectives are to improve student proficiency in both their mother tongue and the target language, to develop their intercultural understanding and at the same time their social thinking skills. The characteristics of CLEAR are that it integrates all skills and language. Okay? The lessons are based on reading and listening text. The language is functional and dedicated by the content of the subject. And knowledge acquisition using target language. Okay, students will be able to learn from different subjects using English as a bridge. And learner styles are taken into account in task types. This is very important because, as you know, we have different type of learners in the classroom. And when a methodology takes that into account, as our books do, it helps our student to improve their learning process. Okay. Something important to keep in mind is that CLEAR lessons should combine elements of the following four principles, which we call the four C's of CLEAR: content, communication, cognition, and culture. Okay. Content, there must be a progression in knowledge, skills, and understanding of our students. Communications, a student should use the language to learn while learning to use the language. Okay. Cognition, student will be able to develop their thinking skills, which will link context formation and understanding of the language. And finally, culture, student will be able to deepen awareness of otherness and self about culture. Now, CLEAR activities. Now I would like to share some of the activities that you can assign or that you can carry out with your students. The first one, which is the Amazing Map Race. This is a CLEAR geography game that requires reading in the target language. Okay, so the student will be able to improve their reading skills and their comprehension at the same time. The second one, the Truth and Light. This one is History Edition. This one allows you to teach history through the target language in a fun and informal setting, of course. Last lesson this one is pretty good. It's a pretty good activity for opening a lesson. Okay, you can ask your student to finish it with something they still remember from the previous class. For example, last lesson I learned about verb to be. That's an example. Okay. Brainstorm. You can choose a student randomly. With this activity, you can choose a student randomly and ask them for something they remember from last class. Another activity that you can use is opening questions. Okay, you teachers can write one or more questions related to the previous lesson and ask your student to answer. And finally, class survey using questionnaires. Okay, you can prepare some questions and carry out a survey in your class. Uh, some of the benefits of using Clio or in your classes or having a book with this methodology is that you are not only going to teach content, you're not only going to teach language, but at the same time content. Okay, uh, it will also help you to increase the exposure to the second language. I mean, a student will be more exposed to the language. It will also allow for communication in teaching. Student will be able to communicate more using the target language, and at the same time will develop both not only the learners but will also develop teachers. It will also develop their intercultural communication skills. Will introduce a wider cultural context. Finally, I would like to add that I consider myself to be one of those teachers that believe that students construct their own learning when they expand and transform their existing knowledge. Even though students attend the same class, participate in the same activities, or even read the same books, they may have a different understanding of the same topic. And you know why that happens? Because your students do not come to the class as blank slates. I mean, they come to the class with their own prior experiences. So, Faxnacht 1996 explained that constructivist teaching provides students with meaningful and concrete experiences in which they can look for patterns and construct their own knowledge. Remember that a constructivist teacher encourages the student to construct their own knowledge, and a flipped classroom shifts instruction out of the classroom and assignments into the classroom. So you can use flipped learning for a student to learn the basic concepts before coming to the class so that you can use the class time for the students to explore the concepts in depth to construct their own knowledge. It's not a secret that nowadays most of us teachers can be considered flipped teachers. You know why? Because there has been a moment where you have had to teach science or history or even geography through a foreign language, which is the main purpose of Clio. Okay. At the end of the day, what these methodologies seek is to help us to be more effective in our teaching process, and at the same time to help our students to be more independent and capable of building their own knowledge.
Teaching methodologies and approaches are really important in impacting knowledge into the learners. Methodologies that are only teacher-centered will achieve less result, so they should be learner-oriented and done to fit into the learning style of all our students. After a detailed study of different teaching methodologies, we can say which pedagogical way of teaching is better. I know that teachers are introducing different innovative ideas to explain the content to learners. Also, it is the responsibility of the teacher to teach students with suitable modern methods. In short, the inclusion of these methodologies in this time is necessary as it opposes the idea of traditional form repetition and memorization to educate students. To develop decision-making skills, problem-solving skills, and critical thinking ability, modern teaching methods are best suited. Remember that the way of teaching makes students more productive and encourage them to collaborate to society.
Agradecemos su atención en el día de hoy. Ahora vamos a pasar a un espacio de preguntas y respuestas. Recuerden que pueden hacer sus preguntas a través del chat y Víctor estará respondiendo sus preguntas. Víctor, one of our teachers says that method and methodologies are two terms that she has heard quite often, but she still can't understand the difference. Can you say something about that?
Yes, of course. Well, I would define a method as a procedure for approaching or achieving a goal.
Okay.
Methodology, on the other hand, is a system of concepts that, a system of methods that are particular in an area of study. I mean, as a methodology is a system of procedures that a teacher uses to teach.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have another question here. So someone is asking, which methodology is the best?
Well, Andrew, that is a very interesting question and at the same time very controversial because firstly, most teachers have their favorite methodology, which is the one that they consider to be the best.
Okay.
And it is very likely because that is a methodology that has helped them and their student to achieve their goal. Secondly, I would say that I totally concur with them because that the best methodology would be the one that help our students to achieve their goals.
Okay, definitely. And then we have, so what methodology do you think applies the most in preschool level?
Well, for preschool, I would choose the methodology developed by James Archer, TPR, or total physical response, because what this methodology seeks is to teach proficiency at a beginning level through action-based drills using the imperative form. I mean, when implementing this methodology, teachers must turn their classes into a play. I mean, the teachers become directors and their students will be like the performers. And at the same time, they will be active listeners because they will respond physically to the commands given by the teacher.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so you talked about constructivism, but what can I do to help my students build their own learning so they can become independent learners? So that's what we have here.
Okay,
What do you
I think the big thing that you can do in order for you to help your students to construct their learning is assign and apply very meaningful exercises and activity where they can develop their critical thinking skill. But at the same time, you as a teacher should be, let's say, a facilitator who's going to be there to scaffold your students who are getting a little bit stuck with their learning process.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, considering the current times, pandemic and everything, so which method would be the most effective right now?
Oh, that is a very important question to say. Due to the circumstances we are living now, I think that the method that would be more effective is split classroom, because I'm pretty sure that most of you teachers are carrying out this methodology because you have been sending homework, you have been sending videos and audios to your learners who are at home studying the material. When back in the classroom, that is the time for you to take like the temperature of the learning of your student.
All right, yes, definitely. All right, so let's see. Yep, I think that's about it. Thank you very much, Victor.
Well, thanks you. First, I would like also to thank you on behalf of SM for being part of this workshop, Methodologies for an Online Learning 2021. Thank you, Andrew.
All right. Agradecemos a toda la audiencia conectada por participar con sus inquietudes y a la vez darnos la oportunidad de compartir nuestra experiencia con ustedes. En ese mismo orden, nos gustaría tomarnos un espacio para hablarles brevemente de nuestro catálogo para el próximo año escolar 2021-2022.
En el nivel preescolar tenemos las series Power Pets, Happy Charms y Toy Box. Power Pets es para una carga horaria de 1 a 3 horas semanales de inglés. Happy Charms para 3 y 4 horas semanales de inglés. Y Toy Box para un colegio que maneja una carga horaria de 5 horas o más en el nivel inicial. En primaria contamos con la serie Smarty para una carga horaria de 1 a 3 horas. Es una serie de 6 niveles. Para una carga horaria de 3 a 4 horas semanales, contamos con Go Getters, también una serie de 6 niveles. Y para un colegio que maneja una carga horaria de 5 horas y más, contamos con Imagine 2.0, también una serie de 6 niveles. En secundaria, contamos con las series American Course, Crossover Plus y iWorld. Si tienes una carga horaria de 1 a 3 horas semanales, te recomendamos la serie American Course, que cuenta con 5 niveles. Para 3 y 4 horas semanales tenemos la serie Crossover Plus, que es una serie de 4 niveles. Y si manejas una carga horaria de 5 horas y más, pues te recomendamos la serie iWorld. Y cabe destacar que esta serie implementa la metodología Flip Classroom.
Vamos a entrar al enlace que se encuentra en la descripción del video para que puedan conocer de manera más amplia y detallada nuestro catálogo. Entonces, en caso de que requieran de una visita en su centro educativo por nuestro chat, estaremos compartiéndoles el contacto de Elvin Santana, que es nuestro gerente de idioma, que con mucho gusto les asistirá. Queridos docentes, llegamos al final de nuestra actividad de hoy. Les recordamos que queda disponible el formulario de inscripción de esta actividad y este ha sido nuestro tercer evento virtual en los últimos 3 viernes. Estos eventos están todos disponibles en este canal. Les invitamos también a que nos sigan en nuestras redes sociales como SM Dominicana, tanto en Facebook como en Instagram, y que se suscriban aquí en YouTube. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Que tengan un feliz resto del día.